Hopefully this is broadcasting here. It's acting a little weird this morning. But we are on to episode 4, The Truth. Barring any catastrophes on the technical side. Let's catch the previously on here, and welcome.
Previously on Alan Wake, I'm hunted by the law.
Sheriff, Wake's running. I'm giving chase.
Are you seriously telling me that writer just took out my deputies?
A thriller I supposedly wrote is coming true. The genre of the story seems to be shifting. It's turning into a horror story. I was told that Alice had been kidnapped, but that was a lie.
We don't have his wife. We don't know where she is.
Her purported kidnapper was eaten up by the dark presence before it attacked me.
Alan, shh, baby. It was just a nightmare.
Alice.
There you go, Alan.
Hartman. I fell.
I had to give you a sedative. Don't fight it. You went through another rough period.
What?
Right now, it's very important that you stay calm. We don't want you to have another episode. You're a patient at my clinic. Have been for a while now. The shock of your wife's death triggered a mental illness.
No, you're lying.
You're suffering from various symptoms of undifferentiated schizophrenia.
Bastard.
It's okay, Alan. Just let go.
I always like to shout, "You bastard, I'll kill you," after someone tries to tell me I have
groggy.
undifferentiated
Whatever Hartman
schizophrenia.
had bumped in me was making me numb.
Just to prove.
I felt like this was happening to someone else. Someone I was watching on television. I couldn't think. Couldn't focus. There were only empty sheets of paper here. No manuscript pages.
So we know, just to catch you up if you didn't watch the last session here, we were pursuing the kidnapper up to the Mirror Peak lookout point for the second time. Oh, hi, Emil.
Now? Feeling calm?
Pardon me.
Yeah. I see you brought your pet gorilla with you. So sure, I'm calm. I get the message. Loud and clear.
Why, right. That's the spirit. You're being very brave, Alan. I understand you're confused. I would be more concerned if you weren't suspicious of me. I don't blame you for it.
Big of you.
Now, why don't you come with me? We'll reacquaint you with my clinic and go over everything you might have forgotten. Little walk and some fresh air? Yes, it will do you good.
Yes, indeed it will. So, just at the end of the last session, we were up on Mirror Peak lookout. I keep wanting to call it Mirror Point. I have no idea why. And the darkness attacked in tornado form. It appeared to whip the kidnapper off the platform, and just as it was about to do the same to us and consume Alan and all his juicy meats, we activated a flare, which scattered the darkness, but also loosed its hold on us and sent us plummeting into the lake below. So we fell into the water again, which I believe is the second time now, and we woke up here. So it could absolutely be that we physically fell in the water and physically washed up on shore and physically got dragged to here, because I do believe that this is where they wanted us to be, regardless. However, I'm not entirely sure. I want to keep very careful track of any time he interacts with the lake. It's kind of important. So I'm just keeping a note of it in my head here. I believe this is the second time he has gone back into the lake. And let's take a walk with Dr. Emil Hartman. More about him in a minute.
This corridor is for patients. Most of them aren't here right now. Jack took them out for a fishing trip, except for the ones who are particularly vulnerable, of course. I encourage creativity as a part of the recovery process here at Cauldron Lake Lodge. I specialize in treating artists.
I bet you do.
Splendid, Alan. I honestly believe we can get this thing under control if we work together. This way, Alan.
Mind if I look in other patients' rooms? Is that... Huh. It's a rather interesting piece of art. A man separated from what appears to be a sea of darkness by a shield of darkness. Okay? Darkness if you do, and darkness if you don't. I should keep track of some of these paintings, too, just because in Control there is a weird habit of having paintings that look exactly like that.
Now, Alan, from past experience with you, I know I need to get right into the heart of the matter as quickly as I can after an episode. So I'm just going to say this. Alice is dead.
No.
You're in a very vulnerable state until you understand and accept this. Alice drowned, and you couldn't face that. You're suffering from hallucinations, paranoid delusions, unusual thinking, an obsession about light and darkness, a feeling that everything revolves around you, your thoughts and dreams. Your mind has constructed an elaborate fantasy scenario in which your writings are affecting reality. She has been kidnapped and supernatural forces of darkness are trying to stop you. We go this way, Alan.
I wasn't ready for another shot, so I went along with it. He had to be lying. But under the influence of the drug he had given me, I had to fight not to believe his words.
It's all in your head. You've been making it up. Apart from the tragic accident with your wife, no one has been killed. Your delusions are just a manifestation of your subconscious mind trying to protect you from the too painful truth. Unless we fight the fantasy, it will return. I know the instinct is to resist me, but think about it. Doesn't this make far more sense than the insane supernatural conspiracy you have concocted in your mind? You're a skeptic by nature, Alan. We both know this. Everything can be explained logically.
So he would have me believe that none of this is happening. This is all in my head, that I, in a murderous rage, lashed out against Alice and perhaps pushed her into the lake, it seems. And he's given me a drug while I was unconscious that is making this very, very hard not to believe. Just to recap. In Tenebras, is that truth? Or is that Veritas? Yeah, I don't know what Tenebras... Cadere. Let's look it up. In Darkness? Oh, good. Someone is smarter than I in the chat. In Darkness Fall? In Tenebras Cadere? Let's see here. Oh, come on, fingers. To fall into darkness is what that means. That doesn't sound good. Cauldron Lake Lodge, 1912, to fall into darkness. What is this little plaque? Beyond the shadow you settle for, there is a miracle illuminated. Thomas Zane. In the memory of a dear friend and poet. It is interesting, they still seem to be, like, you know, we've seen this scratched on, in hearts on tree stumps, you can see TZ, or in that basement where the illuminated paint was written, you can see TZ. It's like his name does not exist. You can't actually see Thomas Zane anywhere in this reality, but you can see his initials. That's just it could be anybody. It's not a direct reference. So you will see Thomas Zane's initials around because that's not a direct enough reference to his identity to have been taken out of the world by his poem. And the other interesting thing is that this is here at Cauldron Lake Lodge. Emil Hartman founded Cauldron Lake Lodge, I believe, after the events of or not after the events of 1970, but Emil was involved after the events of 1970. Cauldron Lake Lodge, it seems, has been here since 1912. But after the events of 1970, when Thomas Zane disappeared, Emil Hartman is the only one left alive or in existence who knows that the lake is inspirational. That's why he has this lodge here, and that's why it specifically treats artists. He only accepts people who have a mind that is capable of creating scenarios that can become real. So Emil Hartman is trying to change the world here. He's trying to use the abilities of others. He does not have the ability himself to write honestly enough to change the world himself. He needs to rely and steal from other artists by luring them to this lodge under the guise that they're mentally unstable. Just a couple of quick notes. Yes, Emil, continue with your lies. We're ready for them.
I never get tired of this view. Very inspiring, isn't it?
Cauldron
you gonna
Lake
push
spread
me?
Below us. I could see Mirror Peak on the other side of the lake. I thought I could make out the spot where Diver's Isle had been when I arrived with Alice. Now there was nothing but waves.
It seems there's a storm coming. Funny, I don't recall there being a mention of that in the weather forecast. Well, no matter. This way. Follow me. Alan, what I'm telling you is good news. Right now, we're in control. Every time you have a relapse, it gets more and more difficult to resurface from the dark depths of your imagination. Not surprising, considering your profession. Imagination is what you work with. After all your nightmares, this should come as an immense relief to you. If it doesn't, why is that? Because I'm lying? Or because you don't want to admit that you're not well? It's very natural for you to think of me as your enemy. It's part
I
of
let
the
him
illness.
talk.
After all,
Hartman obviously
I'm the one
loved his
trying
own
to bring
voice.
you out
His
of the
words
world
echoed
you've
madly
constructed
inside
for
my
yourself.
head.
But
I dug my
can't
nails
do
into the
it by
palms of my
myself.
hands to stay focused.
You need to work with me. Once you accept that, we can begin
Very
the
important
journey
that Alan
into
interrupts him, as if to say, hey, don't worry,
Come
he's
along.
not telling the
Let's go
truth.
inside.
Just a little reassurance to the player, direct from Al. Mr. Gorilla, nice to see you again.
Here's the entrance to the office wing. That's for staff only. You were impressed by my trophies when you first arrived here. I do love to hunt. The great outdoors, man versus nature. It's wonderful.
Oh, you
stuff.
do love to
Pretty
hunt.
damn wonderful, yeah.
Scary, scary, scary.
Emerson,
I'm a real bad dream, mister. You should be afraid of me. Don't want to run into me in the night, that's for sure.
please,
The
Emerson.
residence of
Mr.
Lord
Webb
Ran
is
here.
confused enough as it is.
Yeah, you'd like me to go away so you won't be scared. But you can't just decide what kind of dream you have or when you have it.
Emerson,
Okay, sorry. Boo.
that's Emerson. We're actually making some progress with him, I'm happy to say. He works on video
Elbow
games.
strike. Ooh,
It's
yeah.
trash,
Oh.
of course, but it does
Oh,
involve
what trash.
some small creative effort, which makes him receptive to my therapeutic methods.
No kidding.
Good for you, sir. Continue the good fight. And you, madam. Lovely song.
Come, Alan, this way. Now, you might
God,
have
you
noticed
are
the title.
nailing it.
You've been writing as a part of the therapy. As soon as you feel up to it, you should
Where is the standing O button? I need to standing O. Is that an appropriate abbreviation? I think it's fine. There's no way it could be misconstrued. Still, Twin Peaks. Everywhere I go, Twin Peaks. There's another one in this set. I like that set. It speaks to me. I don't know what it says that it speaks to me. What does this say about me as a person? Anyone else see this picture of my parents fighting? That's crazy. We are here to give you the specialized help you need at Cauldron Lake Lodge. However, please observe the following. Ask friends and family to schedule visits beforehand to ensure they don't burst in just while we're torturing you. I mean, interfere with your therapy and or your periods of creativity. Also, please respect your fellow patients' need to escape, for privacy and personal space, especially when they're engaged by their creative processes. Be patient. Typically, our patients have long-term creative problems and they won't be solved overnight. Give yourself permission to take the time you need for us to torture you. Bear in mind that you're voluntarily receiving treatment that has been specifically, not specially, tailored for you. Engagement therapy, trademarked. And its sister method, the flow, also trademarked, work best when you're actively engaged in shaping them. If you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to voice them. I will bear this in mind as we go forward. Okay. Hey, Tor, Odin.
Me. There's a storm coming. Oh, what a storm.
I hope it wipes this place off the face of the earth.
Oh, what's that guy painting?
And these two are the Anderson brothers, Odin and Tor. They had how should I put this? A heavy metal band in the 70s and 80s called Old Gods of Asgard. They even adopted new first names to complete the image of Viking gods. After the band broke up, they lived on a farm nearby. They are, well, in advanced stages of dementia. They're well cared for, TLC and all that. There's nothing more that can be done. I'm afraid that the rock and roll lifestyle has left its mark.
That is indeed Squeaky Mjolnir back there.
I'm so sorry to cut this short for now, Alan. The power has been acting up. I'd better go check on it. We'll continue this soon. Meanwhile, when you feel up to it, return to your room and try to write. It really is for the best.
You just want my manuscript pages, you slick son of a... You get out of here.
I'd like to bash his head in with a hammer.
Oh, he'd love
Do
to
it.
fish out
Do it.
our secrets, but he has no clue. He's not crazy enough. Not crazy like us, Sonny.
Yeah!
Being crazy's a requirement, Sonny. Who else could understand the world when it's like this? It takes crazy to know crazy.
That's the sanest thing I've heard in a while.
Say, you're all right, Tom. Hey, we like him, don't we, bro? He's got to go to the farm.
The Anderson Farm. Valhalla!
We wrote it all down, lest we forget. A crash course. All you need to know to get your head right. You need to find the message.
Here, Sonny, here's something for you. Gave me a rash, but I kept it safe from these bastards.
Oh, I don't want to touch it. Where did it give you the rash, exactly? Oh, my
head was clearing
fingertips.
up, or according to Hartman, I was sinking back into the fantasy. I was convinced he was lying to me about everything. Crazy or not, the Andersons made more sense.
Tom!
Oh, they always do.
On you?
Yeah, no. Sorry,
We
guys.
have a stash of the special stuff at the farm. Our own formula. Local ingredients. Medicine clears your head right up. Makes you remember
Local
like
ingredients, you say?
moonbeams on the brain.
Oh, I just noticed. Leather patches on the elbows? That's not very rock and roll.
Tom just lost is all. Baba Yaga got to him too, the damn witch.
She used us all. Taken from all of us. Took my thunder, the witch.
And my ravens, what were they? Memory and thought, the hag.
She took something from you too, didn't she? That's what she does.
Yes, she did.
We're better off.
She
This
took my ravens, too.
isolated gives you power. If you're a creator, an artist, a Go.
Nightmare shifted in their sleep in the darkness of the lake.
Yeah!
Yeah, that's the one. She makes sure it comes out twisted and wrong. Just ask the lamp lady. She knows what happened to that other rider.
She's been using you, boy, and you let her. You went and opened the door for her, didn't you?
Now, it was already open a crack. And whose fault is that? We're morally corrupt, disease-ridden, old and stupid.
Doesn't mean he had to open it all the way, goddammit.
I so desperately love Remedy's habit of... Like, you can just leave at any time. As soon as Emil stopped talking, you can head back to your room and you would hear none of this at all. But if you just hang around with Tor and Odin, they tell you the whole plot of the game. Just straight out. And it was very, very similar with, like, in Control with Director Trench's desk. If you just wait. So, an important thing to note here, these guys, Tor and Odin, they always call me Tom. They say, "Hey, Zane! Hey, Tom! Good to see you." They do remember him. They're connected to the lake. Everyone just thinks they're crazy, but they've always remembered Thomas Zane. And for whatever reason, I remind them of him. I either look exactly like him or I have the same qualities, to the point where they just assume that I am Thomas Zane, which is important to keep in mind as we go forward. They also directly mentioned the witch, Baba Yaga. That's Barbara Jagger. The darkness incarnate we have been seeing all around, and that when she takes your creative process from you and twists it into her own purposes, she removes your memory of doing that. And that also happened to Tor and Odin. So whatever you do end up creating, whatever you put out in the world, however you change it, you're kind of unable to ever really know that you had a hand in that. Everything just continues to flow along. What a weird life.
Built the farm close to the lake, a place of power.
We had parties there, man. You should go there and have a party.
I would love to.
Boulder through the amp through the window. Hit that hippie chick in the back of the head.
Oh, no.
15 stitches and a concussion.
Fat Bob, why?
Bob's dead now. Leukemia.
Oh, well, I guess he got his in the end.
Snitches and narcs, man. Bad scene.
As if throwing a party where Fat Bob throws an amp through the window is somehow related to snitches and stitches. Okay, I think they're finally done. Last funny thing to comment on is just the absolute delight of how randomly it comes out of nowhere that he says, "Hey, I just noticed you're wearing elbow patches. That's not very rock and roll." Ah, I nearly passed out from laughter. But then I was okay, as it turned out. Alright, so Storm's coming in. We have just a second to look around the lodge further before things get messy here. I'm going to see if I can see what this guy's painting is out here. This looks strange. Don't mean to bother you.
Oh, hello. I've painted you.
Okay.
Oh, it is me.
I was just struck by inspiration a couple of days ago. Dr. Hartman wanted me to paint landscapes, and that's what I was doing. But now I've been doing these things, a lot of them. The images just keep coming. Dr. Hartman likes them. He has them in his office.
Yeah?
He's very proud of me. He says I'm getting much better. I think I'm getting better.
Well, you're a very talented artist.
Wrapping this up.
That's all I can say.
The storm is almost here. Look at that. I'd hate to be out there tonight.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all. You know those storms that roll in over the mountains as inky tendrils of evil. This is one of those storms. Alright, I love your painting. I'm very flattered, and part of me loves you. Not the whole thing, just 3/4. Nothing jumping out at me necessarily. On the old bookshelf there. Though that is interesting. What does that say? I cannot read it. But that symbol is, I've seen that before. In Control, in the Ocean View Motel. So this is his book all about the creative process, which is really just a primer for him to, B and E your inner mind, so no thank you.
And give the writing a shot, huh? Typewriter's in your room. You can get to your room.
Why don't you leave the mental advice to the professionals, sir? How does that sound?
The doors were locked. Hartman and the nurses would have keys, but there was no way to get my hands on them.
So I'd like to get into his office, which is behind this door. However, they have the keys, and there's nothing I can do about that. I don't have a squeaky Mjolnir with which to defend myself. This looks like a pretty neat fort. I'm sure it will defend you from the inky tendrils. Alright, I'm really just procrastinating so that I don't have to run for my life every 5 seconds once the darkness falls.
But I figured I should just play
But,
along for
here
now.
we go.
It was the only thing I could do with Nurse Birch watching me like a hawk. There's a shadow inside my head. I can only focus on writing. Everything else is a blur. I'm trapped in this cabin. Have been for days, but it's always dark outside. My editor is real. I saw her again. She's not human. It's not human. A dark presence is wearing the old woman's face. She was covered in clinging shadows. There's a hole in her chest where her heart should be. I think I've made a horrible mistake. I don't think I'm any closer to saving Alice. It's been lying to me, using me to get the story it wants, and the story will come true.
There's a hole in her chest where her heart should be. Keeping that in mind. The White Knight, the Black Knight. White pieces, black pieces. Okay, so there's a generator over there with a light attached to it. I'm sure I will use that at some point. And my room must be on this side. Wake. Emerson. So this is the video game guy. Yeah, sounds about right. Death Rally. I think that's actually like a mobile game that they came out with later after this. Copy of Night Springs, the Xbox 360 video game. Must be thrilling, but we'll never get to play it. Oh, this is cool. One of those old tilty ball mazes. And he's just working on game stuff. Level design, storyboarding. I'm guessing that's just a big bag of various drugs up there, a loose representation. Some sort of painter's room, maybe the guy out on the deck we spoke with. And locked. All right. So back to my typewriter. And things are gonna get nasty.
The white glare of the blank page in front of me hurt my eyes. My hands began to shake uncontrollably.
Everybody, calm down. Put that down. Bert, I need help.
Hey, Wake.
I think the problem he's having is that in the manuscript, he did not write any other manuscript pages. He's now living it out. So every time he tries to write, he goes basically to the wall of reality. And he says, hey, in the manuscript I wrote during the week I was in the dark place, did I write any new manuscript pages during it? And it says, no. And that's why he can't write.
My only chance of getting out of here.
Where the hell did he get a damn hammer?
I don't.
Here's a friendly poke from Mjolnir, wench.
Oh, there's that manuscript page again.
Not so weak now.
I think Tor just said that line that, here's a poke from Mjolnir, wench, and hit Nurse Sinclair.
Oh, are we?
Hartman kept talking, giving Barry the grand tour, clearly proud of the place. He went on and on about his hunting trophies, and Barry was impressed. But he was here on business. He raised his voice, cut through the monologue. Hey, Hartman, where's Al? Hartman stopped in mid-sentence, annoyed at the interruption. He nodded at the hulking orderly standing nearby. The man smiled and clapped a practiced hand on Barry's shoulder.
So it sounds like Barry just tried to come spring me from here as well, just like he did from the Bright Falls Sheriff Station, but was turned away.
Well, things are unraveling fast, aren't they?
Oh, they sure are.
It's my storm.
I imagine we'll be back up for this.
Hartman had mentioned that the power had been acting up. Maybe that was the reason for the generator and the work light on the balcony. The generator hadn't been activated, and there was no key.
No key, okay. Maybe that's in his office, too.
Sinclair looked bad. That wasn't a love tap. The crazy old fart hit her hard. If she was one of Hartman's goons, she had it coming. I could get the key to the office wing from Sinclair.
Okay. So Tor and Odin have the orderly locked up
To
there.
Hartman's office. He had taken all my manuscript pages. That's where he'd been keeping them.
Maybe you could come out and beat our wrinkled adult diapered asses, Bert, since you're so tough, Bert.
Maybe you could come out and beat our wrinkled adult diapered asses for us? Is that what they said? I love these guys. Okay.
You better hide, Birch. My wrath will break you.
He's probably kidding, Birch. He's got a great sense of humor.
And there's Mott. That is the kidnapper. He is apparently a dear friend of Emil Hartman's, and works closely enough with the lodge to have this photograph
The
up.
photo on the wall caught my attention. In it, the clinic staff was standing outside the lodge. I knew the man next to Hartman. He was the kidnapper. Hartman had been playing me all along.
So there seem to be two sort of opposing sides to this, a more supernatural and a more physical. Emil Hartman, coming at this from the physical angle, is trying to draw as many authors as he can, artists of all kinds, to the lodge to change reality for his own ends. Meanwhile, the Dark Presence is trying to do something else, and it doesn't care what Emil is trying to do. So it's very interesting to me that there's like this antagonist that's sort of necessary for the book. Emil Hartman and Mott, the, quote, kidnapper, are like book villains that are necessary for the story, but they're not really what's going on.
Get out of here! Hartman, do you hear me? I'm gonna sue your crazy quack ass to shreds!
That sounds like Barry.
Seriously!
Do you have any idea how much trouble you're in? I am famous.
Barry?
Hey, buddy.
About time.
Barry, man, am I glad to see you. We need to get to Hartman's office.
It's right next door.
You okay?
Yeah. I mean, no! The cops found me at Rose's trailer, but they didn't hassle me too much. I'm obviously a victim in this, and I demanded to be treated as such. Or else I'd sue their asses. Speaking of asses, that Fed gave me a real hard time, but I had no clue where you were. That guy's crazy now. But he let me go, and then I get a call from Hartman, that son of a bitch, who tells me you're here, and I should come pick you up, but when I got here, 2 goons clobbered me and stuck me in there.
What's with the cutout?
I stole it from the diner to piss off Rose after what she did to us. That'll teach her.
Yeah, that's a harsh...
It's very misguided, but hilarious.
We gotta get going.
Oh, Barry, it's good to see you. All right, let me check out here. 1 second. Oh, here's those paintings he's been making. Lovely. I would definitely put these up in my summer home, yeah.
The markings on the tape said they were recordings Hartman had made at the sessions with his patients. I saw Alice's name on one of them. For a moment, I couldn't breathe right.
Alice Wake. Okay, let's read this first.
Hartman wasn't happy. Maud could see it in his eyes. He quickly lowered his own. He had made a mess of it, and he knew it. The shame of failure was hard to bear. He hadn't expected Wake to say he needed more time, and he blurted out 2 days, less than Wake had asked for to show him who was in charge. But that wasn't part of Hartman's plan.
Oh, that's awesome. Just the silhouette and some pine trees. Also just the silhouette. Alright, I'm a little scared to play this, but here we go.
Now, Mrs. Wake, can you tell me about Alan's problems?
He's more and more out of control all the time. The parties, he's so angry all the time. He's getting violent.
Do you mean with you?
No, not with me. No, never. Sometimes I almost wish Alan would take a swing at me, because at least that'd lead to a conversation he couldn't just march out of. But no. Alan doesn't really sleep. And the work, well, he's not writing at all. He sits there for hours and just gets more and more frustrated. And I can't talk to him.
Yes. Tell me, Mrs. Wake. What would you say to him if he'd listen?
I don't know. I want to say, I look at you, and it's not you. Just some stranger who resembles you.
This is sounding very familiar.
Your eyes, and I don't like that guy much. And now it's all gonna go to hell.
But you don't ever say this.
No. I've tried, but he's not listening. He's too deep in his own problems, always going on about something else. I'm so afraid I'm gonna lose him, and we're not even talking anymore. He doesn't let me in anymore. He just keeps me in the dark. I'm so alone here, even when he's home. Please help me, Doctor, because I'm at my wit's end.
Well, if you can just get him here, I'll absolutely do my very best.
Yeah, but Doctor, you need to be careful with him. He's not just going to listen to you and cooperate. He's the most stubborn man I've ever met.
Well, I'll be sure to bear that in mind.
Hearing her voice, what she was saying made me happy and sick and guilty all at once. Worst of all, I recognized the words. The phone call from her. It had been a cut-up of this. Just a recording.
That rat bastard took a deeply personal recording of my wife and turned it into a little newspaper clipping ransom message to trick me. But I think we've already wounded him enough with our labels.
There was no time to waste. I had to go to Hartman's office.
Okay,
get the missing
Barry.
pages, and get out.
No more exploring. Sorry, I just got excited.
were all the pages I had on me. And more.
Alan, please. You're sliding back into the...
Tell me one more lie and I'll shoot you in the face.
Sliding back into the what was it again?
Well, it was worth a shot. Really, Wake, come on. Let's work together on this. You have no idea...
Hartman, shut up! Barry, get out of here. I'll catch up with you. Get a car.
Oh, Al, let's just...
Go!
Wake.
You didn't hear the recording I just heard, Barry. Get out.
Don't you see? Together we can create something absolutely wonderful. With your ability and mine.
You're on your own, Hartman. Good luck. Smirk. A little smirk just for Alan. It's none of my business, really. Alright, it's coming. It's coming for me. Oh, goodness me. Okay, I don't have a flashlight yet. So this ought to be interesting. Okay.
I needed light to get the possessed bookshelves out of my way.
Let's check that generator. Now they're giving me a smaller window of opportunity. Deeper into the darkness. I'm going back down. Nudge that poltergeist out of the way. Okay, I now have one flare. That's better than the nothing. I guess it's here. Bear with me.
Hartman knew he was no creator.
Hartman's mission.
He had no ambitions on that front. And he certainly didn't want to end up like every artist he had worked with here, damaged in ways that were hard to describe, or worse. It was enough for Hartman to maintain creative control and provide direction, to be a producer. That was what most of these people were in need of anyway. Of course, suitable subjects were few and far in between.
Okay. Doesn't really seem to be the time to watch television, but here we go.
Want access to thousands of applications?
Okay.
Verizon Wireless has you covered. Check out the latest games.
I wasn't expecting that.
Old favorites. Social networking, sports scores, news. It's all at your fingertips.
And it's
No matter
so
what you're
clear.
into, Verizon Wireless can satisfy your
Inescapably
never-ending appetite
clear.
for apps. Check out VCast apps and load up your phone.
This just seems like the most hilariously inappropriate time for that to be a thing. Okay. I love it. I guess we're getting a little assistance from the dark presence. All right. Check this. Just to make sure. All right. There it is. I paid for it. Guess I need to get it. Get it to hit that. Okay.
I'm here!
Thanks, Barry.
I found the car, but the gate's locked. You're gonna have to go through the hedge maze over there.
Barry, I don't have a light.
Always through the hedge maze. Barry, you absolute treasure. That will leave you defenseless. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Oh, God! Look at the house, Al!
There it is.
We gotta go! It's not much of a maze! I made it too easy! Oh, jeez, Al! The house looks bad! Let's get out of here!
You're telling me. Okay, now we're in the hedge maze. This is great. This is just where I wanted to be at a time like this. Don't trust Emil. That seems like some solid advice.
I stared at the Viking paraphernalia that littered the area, surrounding an unlikely centerpiece. A full-size stage complete with an impressive sound system with all the trimmings, including a dragon. It took a special kind of
Including a
to handle
dragon.
something like this in a remote field. When the sky split open with a deafening boom and the music started blasting, it felt strangely appropriate.
No problem. If you missed some bits, Emil Hartman is the owner of the Cauldron Lake Lodge, and apparently the originator of a scheme to sort of kidnap artists and force them to create real events for him. In short. That's not necessarily helping, Barry, but thank you. Alright. Nope.
Move the channel. We'll turn it off. We don't want any fighting. It makes people mad.
That sounds like the orderly. Oh, orderly. I'm sorry I insulted you earlier. Can we please come to some sort of arrangement? Oh, I'm so thirsty, but there's never a drop in the bird bath for Alan.
You get 2 pills in the morning, and then you'll be nice and calm all day long. You get 3 pills in the evening. And then you sleep like a baby.
Okay, mostly concerned about him. Hoping the birds can't get me in the gazebo. Don't have that kind of pathing. Okay, through the garden. Barry kindly mentioned the hedge maze. He didn't mention the, 3 other quadrants of backyard that we've since gone through. There's a hedge maze, then there's a garden, then there's a sitting garden, and oh goodness me, Barry.
Mott knew that Wake was smarter than him. Wake had more money, a beautiful wife, everything. And Hartman said Wake was important. That made him better than Mott. But Mott was calling the shots now. He'd expected Wake to whimper and grovel, but instead, he seemed willing to fight. Mott knew he'd gotten under Wake's skin. If only Mott actually had his wife. The thought made him shiver.
I don't appreciate the person that Mott is. More and more as I read more about his character. Okay, welcome to the second sitting garden. We've removed all the seats for safety. Ah, I forgot I'm switched to that. Didn't want to be. What a waste of ammo. But fun. What a waste of ammo, but fun. That one doesn't really work. Okay, tertiary sitting garden.
For the moment, Barry was just glad he had survived the fall. He had been separated from Al, and there was no easy way to climb back up. He told himself he'd be okay in the gloomy forest at night. He would just have to wait for a while for Al to find his way down. Barry turned when he heard the heavy footsteps and saw the movement. The man-shaped shadow lunged at him from the bushes, an axe held high. Barry screamed and threw up his hand. The world exploded.
And then? And then what? Flip the page? Turn it? Flip it on the back? Oh God, Barry, it will be right there. Emil made Tom do it. You know that Barbara Jagger, or the Dark Presence, rather, wears the skin of Barbara Jagger. It seems the idea to write her back into existence after she drowned was Emil's. Tom likely would not have gone down that path left to his own devices, and therefore the Dark Presence would never have been released. Let me peek out here real quick. Looks like a supply chest. And some guys. Also guys. Okay, so I have 3 shots with a flare gun. 1 normal flare. A bit of shotgun. Let's see how this goes. Oh, more shotgun. There must be something really nasty coming up.
Hartman watched as Wake's features slackened. The man was bullheaded, no doubt. Even lying on the bed, he'd almost broken Hartman's nose the second time. But with a little time, he could break Wake down, give him proper direction. Wake was easily the most promising subject he had had. Well, since Tom, really. Sleep well, Alan, Hartman whispered with a smile. Let me take care of you. He sniffed hard to clear his throbbing nose, swallowed blood, and barely tasted it.
Okay, there's Barry at the far gate. I just have to survive. Whatever is about to happen to me. Let's find out together.
Ow! You're alive! Let's get out of here. Can you open this gate?
Maybe.
Barry.
Well,
Let's start trying.
shut when the nasty showed
Let's
up.
start trying the maybes.
Kinda loose in the lock, so,
Oh, no, take your time. That's fine.
don't worry about it.
Okay, we got a big guy, and we have coming over the sides.
Hurry up, Barry.
I'm on it.
I better get down from there. That's not gonna do me any favors. Ah, darn, I thought he was down already. What a shame. This might be my first actual, death. It's not looking good. Now he's got a little bit back. Man, I keep messing that up. There. Do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, he's got it open. was not very smooth, but hooray! Hooray at the end.
Al, please tell me we're headed for the nearest "You're now leaving Bright Falls. Come back soon" sign.
We're going to the Anderson farm.
I knew you were gonna say something like that. You know what? You owe me big time for this. When this is through, if we make it, I don't care what anybody says, I'm done with darkness. You're gonna buy me a tanning bed as a gift, and I'm gonna live in it.
Oh, that sounds fair. Thank you not only for rescuing me, but also the cardboard cutout of me. That's above and beyond. Rescued every possible version of his friend.
I'm crazy, but that's fine, Barry.
Oh, you got that right, Al. You're barking mad. You are by far the craziest...
But maybe that's inevitable when you deal with crazy stuff like this. It helps. This is happening, Barry. Alice, they never had Alice. She's trapped in the darkness at the bottom of the lake, but she's not dead.
Al, how can you know that?
I know, Barry. I can...
Al,
No, listen. I can bring her back. I can find her. There's something special about this place. The lake, it does something to the works of art created here. It makes them come true. But there's a catch. The dark presence, whatever that thing is, twists it to its own ends. That's why all of this is happening. It's using my manuscript to take over everything.
Al, I believe you.
It happened to Thomas Zane before, it happened to the Andersons.
I believe you. Crazy or not, you're not delusional. Weird shit's going down. That's a fact. I'm on board, man. I'm with you.
The Andersons knew about it, but they were too far gone to tell me with all the drugs they were on. But they wrote it down. There's a message somewhere at their farm, Barry. We just need to find it.
Look out!
Another car crash. Here we go again.
God damn it, Al, talk to me!
I'm definitely getting my license revoked after all of this. And I haven't even been driving a single time. Okay, heavily wounded. That's the sound of my spleen beating.
Barry!
You can hear.
Barry! Oh, man, you're okay! Jeez, it's good to hear your voice! I was trying to get out of the car, but the ground gave way. Man, what a drop! Don't worry, your cutout is fine.
Forget that!
The cutout is fine.
I hit some bushes, didn't get a scratch. There's no way you can climb down, though. It's like a sheer wall. Ah, Al, there's something moving down here!
Barry, it's a taken! Use a flare, Barry!
Flare it up, my friend.
Yeah!
Barry, are you alright?
I'm good, Al! I'm great! Guess you never messed with anyone from New York City before, huh?
Or really wherever they have flares at all. Yeah.
You're gonna have to find your way around to the farm, Al! I'll be waiting!
Welcome to the Anderson farm.
Barry, just wait for me, okay?
Al! I'm not staying here! It's suicide! I'm going to the farm! I'm gonna go ahead and secure the area! You can catch up! Don't worry about it! I'm on the case!
Now he's Rambo. This would turn into a disaster if I didn't catch up with Barry.
Godspeed, Barry. I'll see you at the farm. All right. So we're trapped in the dark woods again, by ourselves. Just to quickly recap that last cutscene with Alan, it's important just to note that he is now caught on. Alan is now aware of the creative power of the lake. He kind of knows what's happening on a basic sense. He knows that Alice is alive underneath the lake in the darkness. He knows that he has written a manuscript that is coming true. He believes that, even though he now acknowledges that he's crazy. And that's a very important part of this. Not many of the authors that have the power or honesty or craziness to be able to activate Cauldron Lake Lodge can get to that level of understanding while they're in the situation. Typically, the Dark Presence, removes their memories, it confuses them, it edits everything they say. making reality what it wants. And by the time they're done, they're shattered mentally, effectively. So it's very interesting that Alan is still living out his own manuscript page. He's still following a corrupted reality that he wrote last week. But now he's aware that he is, and that will have some interesting effects. Later. Not now. I don't know why I'm mentioning it, really. Let's peek up here. Okay. Don't have any source of light whatsoever. Let's try to get to this thing. There we go. So many fridges. Fridges for days.
When he stopped the car at the Anderson farm, Walter felt relieved. Oblivion was close at hand. The brothers wouldn't miss a jar of moonshine or two in the booby hatch. But then he saw the man on the porch, and he knew who it was. Driving for his life and knowing it was useless, he didn't realize he was crying until he couldn't see the road for the tears.
Huh. I don't know what that is saying, necessarily. Someone arrived at the Anderson farm to steal moonshine, but saw a person, a man on the porch, and knew who it was, and burst into tears and ran away. I guess I don't know who Walter is at this point. I need to find out. Alright. The wheelbarrow have its fun. Ah! My face! My face and whatnot! There we go. Luring poltergeists to their doom. Not how I expected I'd spend my Sunday morning. And yet, I'm overjoyed. Okay, I'm just gonna try to stay behind some trees as we get there. Hope that's enough. Anytime now, giant heavy-duty flashlight.
Shadows crawled over the gate. I needed a light to destroy them to get through.
Alright, there's your light. Now we just need power. Getting very dark. Okay, up here.
I hope there's... Agent Nightingale
Sorry,
stared
one
at the
second.
passed-out rider. The man was sleeping off one hell of a night. Nightingale felt a stab of envy at Wake's oblivion, but he had a job to do. He put the gun to Wake's head and
I'll be
almost
right
became
back,
a
in fact. So sorry. One
His
second.
hand shook and his throat felt tight and dry. Biting his teeth, he tried again to pull the trigger. He lost the nerve. Wake stirred. Nightingale would have to settle for an arrest.
Alright, so sorry. That's not coffee. Okay.
A working generator somewhere around here to power up the old lights by the gate.
And that generator would be... Oh golly, I'm curious. There it is. Just walked right past it. Lovely.
I could sense the movement in the woods ahead. Facing the enemy without a weapon was dangerous, but I had no choice.
And I'm back to the base level flashlight. I was really enjoying that heavy duty one. It is interesting that there are some segments where they specifically don't give you a flashlight, like this whole area may have had some of that illuminated yellow paint, but there's no way I would have been able to see it, so it's like that would be a good way to hide a secret, I suppose. To put it in an area where you only get a flashlight later and then you would have to backtrack. But I don't know of anything specifically. And we're moving on. Okay, so I just have a flashlight. I have no way to actually fight back. I can only barely keep them off. Let's see if I can get this in time. So close. Let's see here. Oh, he's so winded. There. All right.
A car was driving away from the farm, headed in the same general direction as I was. For all I knew, it was
Maybe
Barry,
that's Walter.
caught in the consequences of leaping before looking.
So somebody just arrived at the farm to try to steal moonshine, but found a dark figure standing on the porch and ran for their life. I'm assuming that's what happened. It's not necessarily like a named character I should have known before now. Likely just a bit more flavor. There's that heavy-duty flashlight. Thank you. They took pity on me. Okay, couple extra batteries. I missed. There were some back at that other generator, but I didn't get a chance to grab them. What with the machetes in my back.
The car was heading for the cabin up ahead. It wasn't far. If it was Barry, I would see the damage soon.
Okay, there's a cabin up ahead.
I'm trying to deliver each page to the right time and place. I'm trying to show you how the story goes.
I had
Thank
seen
you.
glimpses of the light before. I had seen it in my dream. It was a strange
I really
spaceman
appreciate
or a
that.
diver in a bulky suit. He was the one who'd been placing the pages on my path.
So that's something we've suspected up till now, but finally fully confirmed. This bright presence, not the dark presence. I got confused. This bright presence, whatever the man in the diving suit is, has been following us and placing these pages in specific sequence, trying to help us.
The dark presence followed the choreography laid out to it in the manuscript, growing stronger and stronger, moving like a storm from one scene of destruction to the next. But it was still bound to follow the story and chain to the dark place it came from. When the story reached the end it longed for, it would finally be free.
That's the other interesting thing, is that the act of creation needs to be complete in order for it to fully free the dark presence. And right now, it's like we're looking for manuscript pages that he wrote. We don't know the completion of what he wrote. Did he, in fact, finish the story and it's ready to go and we're catching up to it? Or not? So many bear traps. Really just an unforgivable amount of bear traps here. No, not the shotgun first, but yeah.
Now I had a fighting chance of reaching the farm.
All right. Thought I saw some flares on the ground, but maybe that was only in my mind.
The storm raged on as the Anderson brothers walked unsteadily away from the clinic with the other patients in tow, knowing that this time they wouldn't return. The darkness around them seethed with horrors, but Tor and Odin were unafraid. Their eyes glinted with guile. They knew every secret path, and there was blood on their hands. They had fought these shades before.
Oh, Tor and Odin. Just kicking ass, saving everybody from the lodge while Alan's busy with his own thing. Alan's all wrapped up in his own head and world. It's all about me. Tor and Odin just saved everybody quietly on one manuscript page in the background. Alright, where else? Okay, I've fallen off. There you go. Not seeing anything. So I guess that's it. So close. And yet, so much bleeding from my back.
I could see the car, but there was no sight of the driver.
Walter? You in here, buddy? Is that you, Walt? Answer me if you're alive.
Hello?
Well, I guess
Anybody
he's dead.
here? Barry!
He's definitely dead.
No! Danny, you're not! Please!
That's not Danny.
What are you? What are you? No!
Hey.
I know you. You were in jail the other day.
I went to the farm again for the moonshine, you know? It makes you see. They're not gonna miss it. They're in the loony bin.
my buddy, Danny. I lost him. Something's gone wrong with him. It's not him. Like a real bad follow-up to a real good movie. The best friend's suddenly the bad guy. Who wrote this crap anyway?
Who indeed? I'm sorry about that, Walter. I'm sorry you feel betrayed by your best friend Danny due to the events of this story. There's that Spiral again. Hello, Spiral. Can I get you some ice? Are you gonna make it? I don't think he's gonna make it. Sorry, Walter.
I've run through every possible course in my head. If I continue like the Dark Presence wants me to, the story I'm writing won't save Alice. It's a horror story, and it's going to kill her, and me, and everybody in this town. No one will survive. Darkness will consume everything. This is what it's wanted all along. It will be free, unstoppable. It used Alice to get to me, dangled her in front of me to keep me going. It was never going to release her. I'm going to change this. I'll escape. I've written myself into the story. I'm now the protagonist. This feels like a terrible risk, but it's the only way to save Alice. I'll be bound by the events of the story just as much as anyone else who's been woven into it. The story must stay true for this to work. There have to be victims along the way, near escapes, cliffhangers. In a horror story, it can't be certain that the hero will succeed or even survive. He almost has to die. I'll write my own escape into the story next. I need help. Zane's going to be the one who will help me. I'll make it happen.
That's a really important one. So Alan was actually smart enough during the first week to catch on to what the Dark Presence was doing. It was editing his story so that it would be released and everyone would die. And it did it in little increments that made it make perfect sense. Like, oh yeah, that's right for the story. Oh, I love that. Yeah, let's include that. And after a few days of writing that, he realized that there is no end, but the horror ending that the editor has in mind. And so he changed it. He wrote himself into the story. And he also appears to have, because he knew about Thomas Zane, and he knew about the poems in the shoebox that were left in Birdleg Cabin because of a special incantation that caused that shoebox to protect itself. So I think Alan wrote Thomas Zane into his story. It's not necessarily the case that Thomas Zane's spirit has been haunting Bright Falls lo these last 40 years since 1970. I think Alan brought him back. He at least brought the concept of him back. Hi.
Let me guess. Danny, huh?
Why, Danny? Danny, why? I'm done. I'm done with my, wailing and gnashing of teeth. I've had my fill of grieving for Danny. Okay, so it looks like we can get out that way now. I'm assuming maybe this way as well. Nope, just the window.
The farm was still a good distance away. I'd need a car to get there fast.
There it is.
For a moment, Hartman considered strangling the idiot. Mott was mean-spirited, but easily manipulated. An emotional infant who lived for his approval. Wake, by contrast, was a far more difficult subject. Mott had given him too much leash. In 2 days, who knew what could happen? Hartman would have to find a way to rein him in, and quickly.
think I saw a basement while I was in there. There's sort of an obvious basement window with light down there. Yeah, there's a cache of supplies. If I can figure a way in. There it is. Oh. There's where they get me. Okay. A flashbang will definitely come in handy. Alright, we're stealing this truck and driving on to the farm.
If Barry wasn't up here, he was probably in trouble down at the farm. For a moment, I felt bad for doubting him. After all, I knew at this point itself. But Barry
Alan.
was Barry.
That license revoke. It's coming. Alright, so there is like a fire watch station up the hill there. Let's check that out real quick. There's even a cabin here. And a replacement vehicle, if needed. Take as many of those as I can get my hands on. Okay, let's check up the hill. If you look at that, there's like a map of Bright Falls scattered around on various billboards, and you can find it online and stuff too. There's a lot of gas stations scattered around. It almost seemed like at one point the idea was that you had to drive around and refill your car. Drive around enough that you need to stop for gas. But that's purely speculation. Just another note about how this, at one point in its development cycle, used to be like an open world game. I think I will take a rifle since there's all this ammo for it.
Well, as I'm sure everyone's noticed, that storm we all felt coming is finally here. The boys at the Weather Service reckon it'll last until morning at the very least. Pertaining to that, let me read that missing persons alert again. The Sheriff's Department's still looking for a Caucasian woman, 30 years old, slim and blonde with blue eyes. She may be lost in the woods, and it's possible she's been injured in a car accident. If you see her, please make sure you get her indoors and call the sheriff. It's bad weather to be caught out in, so if you see someone in the area who maybe looks a little confused, give them a hand, all right? This is Pat Maine on KBF FM, hoping you're all safe and warm tonight.
Oh, you too, Pat. You too. Alright. So it looks like there's a secondary way down from here. We may as well continue along that path. That's the spirit. Nom on some of this delicious light. I guess we can upgrade our vehicle. So the question is, this way? Possibly. Alright, so that's the way Barry came down. Let's just clear out the old wheat field here. Alright. So am I going... I guess I have to go down the way Barry went in. Okay. No cars allowed. I have like no memory whatsoever. I know I've played through this section before, but I'm not remembering the whole leading up to the farm section. So this is fun. Alright, so it looks like I could drop down that way. And maybe that's it. Trees have blocked the road. There is an outbuilding, there's this little windmill thing. Which probably I cannot get into, and then there's the main... There's a stage and the main barn. Seemingly no windmill access. Not sure how exactly I'm going to grind my barleys, but okay.
From my daughter!
Okay, is there anything behind this house? Just the outhouse. With apparently no literature. Okay. That's absolutely horrifying. A poltergeist of just old bones. Don't use the dead for your purposes, dark presence. That's phenomenally uncool. I'm gonna need some serious therapy. And yeah, then the ghostly skeletal bones of 3, I guess, dead farm kids came up out of the ground and attacked me. And I got tetanus. So, give me the pills, Doc. Apparently nothing in here at all. Sorry, room. We will not be using you. Okay, I think we can head towards the stage. Thank you for indulging my completionist tendencies, which only rear their ugly head every once in a while, and don't actually help me complete anything. So it looks like we got a whole lot of fireworks ready to go for the big show.
I'd known the brothers used to be some kind of rock stars, but it hadn't really sunk in until I saw the stage.
Ow! Run! Incoming! There's too many of them!
God damn.
An actual bolt of lightning start the concert? That's just fantastic.
I'm so glad you decided to go it alone, Mr. Bronson.
All right, we've got concert goers.
Hold on! I'm trying to get the stage lights on!
Oh, that's a nice flashlight. Okay.
Barry Wheeler to the rescue!
I keep running out of stamina, so I can't dodge those. Hopefully we got a checkpoint at the start of the stage there. Perfect. So I'm gonna run for this. That's the first thing I need.
We have to fight them all! I can set off more of the fire!
There you go.
Help you out! Hey, Al! Did you notice there's a lot of animals? This place is stopped! I'm trying to get the stage lights on!
There.
Yes! Here we go! Barry Wheeler to the rescue! No! Damn it! Goddamn turn of the century wiring! I promise! No! Why do you keep doing this to me? Do it for Barry, please, please, please! Please don't let me die. I'll go with my friend. This is pretty much how
One of you is gonna have to come up the stairs eventually. It's you. You were the one to finally brave it. There we go. Rock on.
That was awesome!
Bright Falls, rock and roll.
This is the reason why that ashtray maze in Control is so beautiful to me. It's not just one of the coolest sequences ever, one of the most visually stunning sequences ever. It's a callback, and oh boy, was it good.
America.
Hey, Al! This way to the farm!
That's why I very much appreciate you indulging me jumping between journeys here, too. There's just little pieces of this that have been important all along. And I want to make sure we're caught up. Alright, now that I have time to actually supply myself. Oh man, can I take this coat and hat? This is awesome. Maybe next time. Alright, looks like we might have a
bestseller,
puzzle.
No reason to worry. Your cutout's good as new, right where I left it. I'll come back for it once we have the place
Genius.
secured.
Yeah, that's been my biggest worry all this time. We need to get this thing moved out of the way.
This is as far as I got before they ambushed me.
Alright, you stay here with the cutout. Guard it with your life. I am, of course, talking about Barry. He's very important to me. Wait, wait a minute. You're leaving me with a sentient cutout. Al, get back here! So that is one of the first times I think you actually get to hear the music of the old gods of Asgard. So basically the first true reference to the band.
What's that, Al?
I'm Alan Wake. I'm always right about everything. And if I don't get my way, I'll sulk all day long. I'm always intense and moody. It makes me very attractive and mysterious. Right now, I'm just standing here because I need my best friend Barry to carry me. But that's okay. I can just take him for granted.
I think I see what you did there.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You want me to do my imitation of Barry Wheeler? No? Thought so.
Okay, let's peek in here.
Wow. You look at that thing, Al. They really went all out with this Viking crap, didn't they?
Wow.
Look at all this stuff.
Got a whole
They must
long
have
ship
done
in
okay
here.
for themselves, so how come I never heard of these guys before?
And this from the guy who learned about Ozzy Osbourne through reality TV?
Sleep.
Aha.
We all spend
It's time for an episode.
soft embrace.
Back
Somewhere
memories.
between
Hey,
fantasy
remember when I
and
got you that gig? Your first
From
real
dreams
writing
unaware
job. What got
forcing
you
themselves
started?
into waking
Was this
life,
one of your episodes?
or vice versa.
in Night Springs. Tonight's episode, The Dream of Dreams.
That's by someone else.
We join Mr. Jones as he explores the endless dreamscape, only to be brought to a sudden stop by a decidedly mundane situation. A long line of people.
Hey, Jones, right? Listen, we're gonna have to wait until His Highness over there is good and ready. Oh, wow. Who's that? You don't know him? What are you, new? He's the guy dreaming us. Well, not just us. He dreams everything. All of this.
But wait, no. I'm the one who's dreaming. I'm asleep. Isn't this my dream?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Get real, pal. You're just another dream. I'm a dream. You're a dream. The weirdo in the diving suit is a dream. And the girl made of smiles and sunshine is definitely a dream.
But I'm pretty sure I'm dreaming this.
Well, maybe you're a really confused dream. What am I, a shrink? All I know is I'm going with the smart guys. And they say that's the guy doing the dreaming. Right there.
I don't know what that means.
It means we keep him happy. No sudden falls. We make sure he has his clothes on when he goes out in public. No chases where the monster is nipping at his heels and he runs like crazy, but his legs don't seem to get him anywhere. None of that. Because if he wakes up in a cold sweat...
Oh...
Yeah, precisely. So we wait till he wants to move on. Keep things nice and calm.
Hey, something's happening here.
Yeah? What's that?
What? Can't you hear that?
Oh, God help us, it's an alarm clock. Oh, it's you, isn't it? Please, man, I got a wife and kids. Please don't wake...
And so it ends. Would be a nice way to die, I suppose. Just somebody else wakes up and, you never really were. Alright, let's check the upper level.
It's 1976. Madness reigns at the Anderson farm. Contrary to all logic, the headiest ingredient of their moonshine is unfiltered water from Cauldron Lake.
Oh.
The Andersons feel like gods. Odin can't stop laughing. He contemplates cutting his eye out. Tor runs across the field, naked, shrieking, hammer in his hand, trying to catch lightning. Their songs have power. Something ancient is stirring in the depths, coming back. The Viking boat looked imposing, almost like a battering ram.
The 1975 Ragnarok tour. Be awed by celestial wrath and fury. That's the way to sell a show.
Whoa! Good going, Al!
Oh, that sounded like it brought some attention. Yep. This heavy-duty flashlight just shreds them, though. Oh, we got a shifter. Where Where'd you shift to?
I think we can make it through here, Al!
Okay, so we got electrical lines, which don't look fun to touch. Let's go back through the electrical lines. Sturdy truck. And one more. Alright, be right back. 1 second. Okay. So sorry. Goodbye, truck. Make sure I'm not missing something here. Oh, hey, Barry.
Wow! Those geezers had quite a production going on.
Here's where the good stuff
You know
happens.
what, Al? If we make it through this alive, I'm gonna start representing them. Yep, sell this stuff online, maybe get a reality show going, release a new single.
Good luck with that, pal.
Hey, you find us a way out of here, okay? I'm gonna take a closer look at this stuff.
Very important to mention that what he just said. He's like, I like these guys. If we survive this, I'm gonna manage them. Like, I'm gonna start representing them, and we're gonna put out a new single. That absolutely does happen. Which makes me wonder if it was written or not. Okay, what are you trying to get me to see, Barry? What am I not seeing that I should be seeing? We just
The door
going
was
out
barred
this
from the
way?
other side. I'd have to find another way.
Not seeing like a ladder. Ah, here we go. Just blends in well.
Be careful, Al!
The new single that Barry actually writes for the old gods of Asgard after he gets through this experience with Alan is a new raucous, fantastic metal song called Balance Slays the Demon. New single after some, 20 years of silence.
I'm good. Keep your eyes open, okay?
And in the song Balance Slays the Demon, there is a section of reversed text. One lyric that is sung backwards. And if you extrapolate and reverse that lyric, it says, "This will all happen again in a town called Ordinary." Little spoiler alert on Barry Wheeler for you there. Okay. I think I still have a heavy-duty lantern, yes. Just making sure.
As you regular listeners know, I tend to work through the night, but I'm not the only one. Deputies Mulligan and Thornton are taking a couple of moments off their busy schedule to join me here in the studio. Boys, how busy are you now? Deerfest is almost here, isn't it? I bet that keeps you in business.
Pretty busy, yeah. Actually, Pat, we've been real busy with other stuff, which concerns an ongoing investigation. We can't talk about that, Thornton. I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just saying we got, other irons to fry.
And how would you compare your workload to last year's? Things have seemed relatively peaceful to me, but people do tend to get a little wild this time of year.
Oh, it's wild, Pat. It's pretty wild. There's been all sorts of trouble this year. Vandalism, fighting, public disturbances. A lot of people gone missing, too. Yeah, it's pretty much the usual stuff, Pat. Just, a lot more of it.
Now, is it just me, or does Deerfest get wilder every year? People seem to be more drunk, at least, or they start earlier and younger.
Oh, it's definitely not just you, Pat, but... Definitely, Pat. Hey, I'm talking here, Thornton. Oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought.
Not just me.
Oh, yeah, it's wilder, Pat, but actually most of the trouble seems to be coming from grown men. People who ought to know better, Kids are doing fine this year.
Well, that's nice to hear at least. Boys, I want to thank you for stopping by. I'll let you get back to your patrol.
Sure thing, Pat. Yeah, sure thing, Pat.
Always good to hear from you, Pat. All right. We're going down.
I could see the building that had to be the Andersons' home on the other side of the field. It wasn't far now. I wasn't worried about trusting the ramblings of two burned-out geriatric wrecks. They had the goods.
It's sort of an ongoing theme in Remedy games, what he just said. It's like usually I'd worry about following a pair of burned-out wrecks, hippie wrecks, but then he's like, but they have the goods. They know what they're talking about. Like, that's sort of the core component of Remedy games. Let's find out how to make madness completely understandable.
You've got to be kidding me.
That's a big old combine. I think he did, yeah. Barry, I think, wrote the new song, Balance Slays the Demon. Though the implication is that it was kind of given to him at the same time. Oh, there's the keys I'm looking for. And some epilepsy. If you wanted a little spare epilepsy, here it is. Wow, let's get out of there. Ah, okay. Usually not affected by flashing lights, but that was giving me a run for my money.
Yeah, it's me. Hang on.
Hey, buddy. I just fought a giant possessed harvester. How are you?
I think we're gonna have to work together to open this gate, Al. Looks pretty heavy.
I'm here for you. Okay. This is a completely separate aspect of the gate that's not helping you at all.
We're almost there. This farm is a crazy place for crazy people.
We should feel right at home then.
Oh, Alan and Barry running through the field in their respective lame person coats. What a scene.
Let's do this.
I love them dearly. This doesn't look good for us. Is this what Walter saw? Lovely home. Goodness, I would just kill to live here. Anybody know who I'd need to kill in order to live here? I'm prepared. Old gods know the truth. That has certainly been the case with Ahti. Just gonna give a quick peek around here. I think when we go in the house, it is officially over. And I'm procrastinating. Hoping we'll find a spare coffee thermos or something. But no such luck. Alright, let's get it over with. In the most beautiful house of all. Sorry, Barry, I led you on a merry chase there.
The lights are out. Guess we better check the fuse box. You know, this place looks kind of lived in. I thought the Andersons were in the booby hatch.
Again, Alice's screams rang in the stillness of the night. I saw myself run toward the cabin, flashlight in my hand. I followed my past self. I was an out-of-body observer, a time traveler in a crazy drunken dream. This was the beginning. The night Alice had disappeared. The mystery of what had happened during the missing week was about to reveal itself.
That's interesting. So he actually wrote it into the story that he might get his memory back if he had amnesia and forgot. Or it almost, in fact, seems that he wrote his own amnesia into the story. Like that might be the only way it worked. It might not necessarily have been the Dark Presence, but he did it to himself. Or else the story wouldn't unfold naturally.
Of course. We need to find where it's coming from. That's the message the Andersons talked about. That's the whole reason we're here.
Lady of the Light? Oh, that's gotta be what's-her-face, the crazy lamp lady from the town.
Cynthia Weaver.
Cynthia Weaver.
Right. Must be.
There's a thermos. Finally. This might be the first one I've actually gotten to show you guys, because they don't, like, come back after you've picked them up. They never return. But here's one that I have never found, apparently. I never had to pee bad enough in the Anderson farm. So that's what a thermos looks like. And it's only important because that is in Control, a found altered item from Bright Falls. They have a coffee thermos, and the only thing that it does, like most of the items give you some crazy ability, the only thing the coffee thermos does is it always keeps coffee fresh, no matter how long it's been in there. That's how it's supernatural. So I don't think they ever reference it directly. I'm seeing like this golden record and something Barry said earlier. He's like, these guys are amazing. You know, why have I never heard of the old gods of Asgard? Like, I don't know if they ever flat out say that the old gods also woke up the darkness. You know, they started to use the lake, and the darkness was like, oh, these guys are pretty good. It's not quite what I need, but it got interested again. And the fact that they had, like, golden records and played all over, you know, big Ragnarok tours and stuff, makes me wonder if something happened to their legacy, too. Like, if they had to write themselves out of the world in a similar way to Thomas Zane, and weirdly in a similar way to Alan Wake, what he's doing now. So it's like, I wonder if they were more famous than they seem at one point. Just seems to be a recurring theme. Ah, I love those shutters that make these circular windows from the outside, but square windows from the inside. That's really pretty. I don't know why I like stuff like that, but I do. All right. Thanks for pointing it out.
Okay.
We need to find Cynthia Weaver. We'll stay here for the night and head back to town as soon as it gets light.
Hey, Al. Lots of hours before dawn. Might as well get some rest. And by rest, I mean drunk.
Come on, Barry, this is...
And by drunk, I mean Cauldron Lake water.
Seriously, because I know we don't get along, but we're gonna find her, right? And even though you're a crazy bastard, I'm gonna stick by you, no matter what, ever, Al. Sure, like a brother.
I'm a writer, goddammit.
Correct.
If I just wanted to, I could write 10 books a year. And they'd be the best books that year.
No, you couldn't.
That's right.
We've reached to this part of the journey.
Because I'm a writer.
What? What are they
It's very
doing
important
stuff?
to the
I
story.
feel like my brain is coming out of my nose. I'm gonna get the recipe off those coots and be a booze millionaire.
A boozionaire.
Barry, I just want her here with me.
I know, Al. I know. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna make it okay.
is what he was
I'm coming.
reading.
It's all right. I'm coming.
It was a crazy, drunken dream, and yet it was more than that. It was the truth, a suppressed memory unearthed by the Andersons' moonshine. I was there, an out-of-body observer. This was the night Alice and I had arrived at Bright Falls, the night Alice had disappeared. I had a chance to find out what had happened. I remembered being surprised to see the cabin dark. Alice would have never turned the lights off.
Alice? Alice!
I remembered thinking I caught a glimpse of her form underwater, sinking into the darkness. Diving after her was the last vague memory I had of that night. After that, the next thing I could remember was waking up behind the wheel of the crash car and finding the first pages of the manuscript. I couldn't find her in all that blackness. I must have thought she drowned.
Alice!
Jagger had Alice, and so she had me.
Alice!
I'd been easy prey.
Look at the cabin. Is there someone in the window?
Alice?
Maybe she didn't drown after all. Maybe she's inside.
Alice!
Yes.
The dark presence had touched me. She had dug her nails into my brain and used me, made me her puppet.
She must be here somewhere. Maybe upstairs in the study.
Alice!
Yes, that's where she is. You can apologize.
Alice!
You'll laugh at the whole thing together and put it behind you.
Alice?
She's not here. You were foolish to think so. No, she's dead. She drowned.
No, no, no!
It's your fault your wife is dead. You are guilty. All she wanted was to help you right. You killed her.
Ah!
Oh, hush. There's still hope. Cauldron Lake is a special place. Here, you have the power to change things. She wanted you to write. I will tell you what to do. You can write her back. The story will come true, and all will be well again.
She had Alice, and the manuscript was the ransom for her. Yes. All right. I'll fix it. I'll bring her back. No. I wrote it. I remembered it all now. In the dark, I'd written for days, a week, almost a complete manuscript of a novel entitled Departure. Jagger had been my editor, whispering in my ear, making sure that the unfolding story would make her more and more powerful. I thought I was saving Alice. Even with the cobweb she put in my head, some part of me had been aware enough to write my escape into the story, to bring a light into the cabin to release me before I could finish, to interrupt the horror story before the ending, where darkness consumed everything and everyone. Zane was weak and far away, but I had written him into the story, and his light had been enough to set me free.
It isn't here now. I'm here because it was written. I brought the light to set you free. You must hurry. It will know I'm here. It will be back soon. It stole the skin of my Barbara a long time ago. She looks so old.
I had woken up, confused and groggy, my mind consumed by darkness and fear. All I could do was to escape. The week spent in the cabin had taken its toll. I was barely conscious, and fading fast. It had to have cost Zane terribly, thrown him even deeper into whatever dark place he now haunted. But he had managed to weaken the dark presence, kept me safe that night.
And revoked.
I wrote it. It's my fault.
That's right, James Joyce. It's your fault, and you're gonna pay for it.
Oh, I'm so happy. Okay. So, to quickly recap, he is now caught up. Alan is aware of the truth. Oh, I'm so excited. This is like, it's just now barely getting to the really good stuff. So a couple of things about that. We do know he said he wrote that Thomas Zane would come to rescue him. Thomas Zane can only exist as the bright presence because there were only two of them, like Barbara and Thomas Zane descended into the lake. Barbara became the dark presence. Thomas Zane became the bright presence. So if he can bring Thomas Zane into the story at all, it means he's bringing brightness or light into the story. So he wrote Thomas Zane that Thomas Zane would visit him in the cabin, and just by that very action, he was freed enough from the darkness to actually escape the cabin, which we then saw dissipate into a cloud of mist, because it was an illusion being projected by the dark presence. So the cabin that he was on did not exist. He was being held by the dark presence. When he wrote that Thomas Zane arrived, he was able to escape, and it's very important that he did not finish the manuscript. As of right now, everything else we've done, he has not been able to write anymore, which means he has not finished the manuscript. Anything he would write at this point would be added to his act of creation. So he has to be very careful. It's why every time he tries to write, it kind of seems like the bright presence says no. He gets that blinding light in his eyes. So it's like, no, you're not ready to end the story yet. You're not caught up. You don't know what you need to know in order to actually pull this off. So all that means is that Alan now has a little leeway. However he ends the story is what the reality will come to be. It got pushed almost to the very end of the story, being that the dark presence will be released. But if he can change it even slightly, if he can make the tiniest alteration to the final line before it becomes a completed act of creation, he can do whatever he wants. Trying to think if there's anything else important or like an unanswered question hanging out there at this point, but I'm not sure if there is. So at this point it gets interesting because his focus shifts from he's been wrapped up in this narrative of kidnappers and his wife, and all of that is nonsense. It's not important. It was just part of the story to give the story the correct levers to make it real. So now he's on the right track, that what he needs to do is finish his story in a way that does not release the dark presence, and if possible, releases Alice instead. And we will be back for episode 5, I believe, next time, to continue that journey. Thank you very much for your patience. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but hopefully we can pick it up later, as needed. Hopefully any of this is making sense. I know it's sort of a roller coaster. But I very, very much appreciate you coming along with me. I am having a blast refreshing my memory here, and there's some things that I can show you in Control after this is all set in stone that I'm very, very excited about. All right. See you next time for episode 5. Thank you again. Hope you're having a lovely day, and goodbye.